In 2025, one simple idea took root: to give India's local business owners, creators, and dreamers a voice that would echo far beyond their city limits. I'm Kabir. People say I'm honest, soft hearted, maybe even a little old school in my values, but I believe in something timeless: the power of human stories to inspire action. That's why I started Kabir Vani Business Edition, a platform where impact makers share their journeys, their struggles, and the breakthroughs that changed everything. Every conversation we record here lives forever in the content economy. It doesn't fade with the algorithm. It keeps working for our guests and for the audience, day after day, year after year. This isn't just a podcast, it's a catalyst, a space where your business story can become someone's turning point. I'm Kabir, and this is the Kabir Vani Business Edition. Your voice, your impact forever.
Welcome, Neha, to Kabir Vani's Business Edition podcast.
Thank you, Kabir, for having me here.
You're most welcome. We have got this particular podcast for entrepreneurs just like yourself to come with such an amazing experience when it comes to digital PR activity, and what's best than being on a podcast and talking about it. So tell me, first of all, Worddpreneur, what is that and why the name Worddpreneur?
So that is one of my favorite questions to answer always, because as I always say, hi, I'm Neha Ved, Worddpreneur. And Worddpreneur because I'm an entrepreneur in the business of words. And it's actually a part of my name title. It's not just a brand name or something of that kind. So if I introduce myself also, I normally say, hi, I'm Neha Ved, Worddpreneur. And if it is even in the context of my company, then it is Neha Ved, Worddpreneur, founder, PenVmedia. And the reason why, because Neha is the name I was born with. My parents gave me that name. Ved is the family name. It's on the birth certificate. But Worddpreneur would be the legacy I'm building for me, for the people who are working with me, for the people of this industry. And it's like a symbol to get unified with. It represents a certain skill. It essentially is amalgamation of word and entrepreneur, and hence Worddpreneur. And I'm an entrepreneur in the business of words. Words, I've always said this, it's only words, and words are all I have to take your heart away.
Absolutely.
So I have always been a storyteller, even before I knew the word storytelling or I knew what it entailed. And when I was beginning my entrepreneurial journey and I was working on building a brand, I had the vision that I have to build a brand. So from the day I started my entrepreneurial journey, being a person who understands branding, being a person who understands brand storytelling of what it entails to build a brand, I knew that I have to have my footprint out there. And to have a strong footprint, I need to have the right blueprint.
Agreed.
So when I was building my blueprint, I'm like, what will be my brand characteristics and what would be the way to define it and have people remember it, a recall word, and which is also an identity. And that's how Worddpreneur was born.
Wow, very nice. And
So-
it kind of gets everything in a nutshell. When it comes to coming towards the digital PR activities, I think words are power.
Absolutely.
Words mean everything. And when you are into the entrepreneur journey, nothing can beat content. And content is every single thing when it comes to word. But what made you start the journey of an entrepreneur, especially being a female and coming into the digital PR activities, because it's so dominating, right? So then what kind of challenges that you had and why entrepreneurship?
Okay, so ever since I started working, and when I say I started working, it's not the day one of my job. It's when it happened in my head first. So I always knew that I am not going to be one of those girls who grew up, got her degree, eventually found someone right, got married, irrespective of whatever is normally that is thought, and maybe just have a job as a side gig because we are in a modern world. So keep busy, to job karo. I knew I needed more purpose.
Okay.
I knew that if I was blessed with a certain skill set, because I was aware of my skills very young in life.
Okay.
I won my first poetry competition in 5th standard. That's one of my first memories of something significant as an achievement with the ability of writing that I had in life. I've been reading books since my childhood because my mother being an MA in literature, there were a lot of literature books. So I knew that, of course, I will have to do a job. I proudly say I'm a first generation entrepreneur.
Wow.
And nobody in my family has ever done a business or has been an entrepreneur. And I also knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, not just a business owner. It had to have purpose. It had to have a certain vision. It had to create impact. It had to cover niche. It's not about how big a turnover for me as much as it is about how much of an impact. And because I have always been an extremely value-focused person, today we hear this a lot that, we are a very value-driven business, not a price-conscious business or something of that kind. But honestly, these are statements that are being told. and they are statements that are used also in the marketing. It's more like a marketing language.
Correct.
Yes, it's connecting people because people are resonating, and it's a more woke audience as the words are used today. And people are actually waking up to the fact that, there needs to be more depth in what you do. For me, it was the way I think, it's the way I function, it's a part of my being. So I could never see myself as a business owner. And the reason I started doing jobs, obviously, is because I had that desire in some corner of my heart, but I never knew how to make it happen. I didn't know how I would become an entrepreneur because I had no in-house reference point or a guidance immediate.
A way, someone to show you the way.
Yeah. Because mom's been an artist and a homemaker, and my father being a doctor, he was always a consultant and a practitioner. So I really did not have a reference point of what an entrepreneur's life entails. How do you make that? I'm like, the best way is learn it on the job. I did jobs consistently from the field of media and journalism. That's where I started my career, and working with magazines. Then I consciously started working with editing, with Marcom, PR, Corpcom, basically picking up stints and doing jobs as an independent professional after being a job goer for certain years, with a conscious thing of learning on the job.
Okay.
When I eventually headed an agency, I felt my learning was complete. And I'm like, I think now is the time where if I do set out with my own venture, I have enough knowledge and I have had enough real life MBAs to make it work. So why I wanted to be an entrepreneur? Because there's a lot more purpose that you can bring to the table and make it a reality. Sometimes you have a purpose, but it's in your head. And because you're working on someone else's field and in someone else's domain, you lose control of it.
Correct.
And you may not be able to flourish. So it's important to plant yourself in a field that you can nurture, and thereby also obviously create more saplings, and they can be nurtured and build a field of your own. And that's how I was like, I need to have my own. And
Very
PenVmedia
nice.
was...
So, selecting the digital PR that you came across, what all services Worddpreneur offers?
So Worddpreneur essentially is all about the consulting and about building your personal brand.
Okay.
The services we majorly offer comes under PenVmedia, which is my agency, where we essentially focus on storytelling. We focus on content, obviously being the hero. And we do it across all mediums, audio, visual, and the written word. And with that, we need to amplify the content you build, which is how marketing and PR came into the fore. And there is obviously digital marketing, there's social media marketing, there's websites, there's SEO and Google management and all of that. There's also PR, there's all of these. But to be honest, the way I look at it, we prefer to call ourselves a 360-degree communication studio, because unlike typical agencies who say that, oh, we are a social media agency, or we are not a social media agency. We understand storytelling, we understand marketing, and we also are very strategic. This is also where the Worddpreneur consulting and my abilities and my entire experience, I've been in the industry for more than 21 years now. I'm in my 22nd year. And I've had a lot of diverse experience. So the way I've designed the entire setup for the benefit and to create value for the clients is, if you're an agency, so if you're a social media agency or a PR agency or a web development agency, you know your niche, you've got your focus. However, when it comes to storytelling for your clients, when it comes to content strategy, you're going to have something lacking. Your in-house team will not be enough. But you will obviously be in a position where you may not want to hire a senior person at a senior that kind of a salary bracket. It's not a business liability you would want to put in. That is where consultants like me come in. We've had success stories where a PR agency said, Neha, this is a founder of an iron and steel company. It's a daughter-in-law who's taking forward her father-in-law's company, took it from 10 to 100 crores, put it on a trajectory to 1,000 crores.
Wow.
And the media is not picking up her stories. Now, honestly, I found that very surprising.
Of course, they would be like running after her.
Yes. And I'm like, then they're like, we need you to step in, we need you to help us identify what's the challenge. When I did a audit of the entire content plan they had, the story pegs were not working, because the image that was getting built for her was a very Ablanari kind of a thing, like a woman having it tough in a man's world, and that angle. Maybe not so much of Ablanari, but definitely not a Pawanari.
Correct.
And we spun it around. When I interviewed her and I got all the dope from her, and I heard her life story, the few things which I just said was the introduction which I created, because that was not the original introduction going out.
Okay.
And we created more story pegs, and eventually she got featured in Business World, she got featured in Forbes.
Nice. Okay.
And those kind of publications. They, in fact, we created humanitarian angles and put her in HR publications.
Correct.
Because she was building a work culture which was friendly for new parents to come back to work.
Oh wow, that's powerful.
That's powerful.
Absolutely, yeah.
And also new parents, not just new mothers,
Hmm.
because usually you're like, the mother has to be, with the-"
right.
and you tend to think of it from a mother's point of view.
Ah.
What about paternal leaves?
No,
If we are living in an era where paternal leaves are being offered to fathers,
Hmm.
that means their role is being given a certain importance.
Correct.
She actually was creating an environment where there was a lot more equality even in that.
Hmm.
And like it should be for new parents. So she organized having a workspace where they could actually keep the child, visit it during the working hours, everything, So there's a creche right in the office.
Hmm.
There's a baby care area in the office. So
okay. So you've got all of those combined together.
Yeah, those become
and that
great
was all your
story.
mind
Yes.
that you had done. I mean,
Yes.
she's done a wonderful work, but this was all your mind.
So I said, put an HR angle out, put a
Yeah,
tech
yeah,
angle out,
correct.
And that's how my consulting created value for that
Wow.
PR agency. So
Okay.
the client belongs to them. The reason I'm not naming her is because I'm being ethical, because the client belongs to
Of
them.
course, there was a collaboration that you
Yes,
did there, and
yes.
that's absolutely fine. I think today's world collaboration is very important.
Absolutely.
And I think the more we understand that, the more we'll grow together.
Correct.
Neha, what would be your ideal client that you would like to target to come, and how can you help them?
Okay, so as I was saying, we operate in 3 levels. One is agencies like this, because we have an extremely ethical way. You use the word collaboration. I still go with the word consulting and ethical operations. For me, the agency is a client. So a PR agency who's focused on building brands of people like CEOs or working in thought leadership would be a great client for me. This is, I'm saying, one aspect, which is agencies.
Naturally, yes.
A social media agency, a web development agency. So these agencies become great clients. My consulting can really be of use to them to handle their clients. We've also had success stories where the web development companies have actually, instead of making a 2 lakh pitch, they've made a 3.54 lakh pitch, which is exactly the double, because it was powered with my expertise and also the content writing services that my team was willing to give them. So what happened is the client was willing to develop a website for 2 lakh because his business and his venture needed that kind of technical development. When it was seen that there is also the right content and positioning and storytelling coming in and there's a match, it allowed the agency to increase their pitch values.
Okay, yeah, because they're giving more.
They're giving more value.
Yeah, exactly.
So as a project, the project value goes up. And this is how we've helped those kind of agencies. For social media agencies, we've actually had a case where somebody came and said, Neha, we just need one word on the copy. It has to be just one word, but the word is this. And we need to create a campaign of 10 such creatives for a new product launch of this company. I kid you not. It seems like, "Arey, ek word to likhna tha." But to be honest, it was challenging to identify a word which fit that brief for 10 different copies, and you needed 10 basically different words.
Correct.
So, yeah, I mean, that's one aspect. The second is definitely personal brands. I love working in the space of leadership. I think it's a big blessing that people can trust you with their most vulnerable side, tell you their story, and to be in a position where you understand that sensitively, but are able to present it powerfully for the media to, pick up the stories, for them to be able to put out a personal brand. It's not just a testimony of my skill sets. I think it's definitely a beautiful blessing to have that. On one side, there is a sensitivity to understand the journey they've been through, the ups, downs, the flaws, the sunshine and the darkness both, and then to be able to filter and put out the most powerful version that helps them build a trust with an audience. See, we are living in a digital era.
Correct.
And it's not that easy to build trust with the audience when they are not sitting across the room and talking to you. You're using impersonal mediums with the desire to create a personal connect. So the only way to bring that personal touch is in the way you're going to tell your story.
Absolutely.
If you're going to find the right connect, if you're going to find the things which could be relevant, which would strike a chord with people, which will see them, which will make them see you as authentic.
Exactly. And the way you actually want to perceive them to see as well.
Exactly.
Naturally.
When the truth is out there and put in a way that people relate with it, you've earned their trust.
Absolutely.
When you've earned their trust, they're going to buy into your brand. You could be a business owner wanting to sell products. You could be a trainer, a coach, a consultant, a counselor, or somebody who's got an expertise of a certain domain, and you are the product.
Correct. Yeah.
And you could be one of those people. So we extensively use LinkedIn to help people build their brand while building their business. Very few people are able to find this sweet spot and find a combination of this, because people think, LinkedIn pe post dalna hai, you just need to be there, because industry is over there.
Exactly.
But it's a very underrated tool to also acquire business and do lead
this
gen.
brings me to a very, very twisted question. Okay. I'm going to bring your competition here. The AI.
All right.
All right, here. So now everyone in the world has become a content writer.
Sure.
Okay, they are doing their content. Content लिखना क्या ही बड़ी बात है. Because ChatGPT, you pay
Yeah,
2,500
yeah,
bucks
yeah.
a month, it writes you the whole blog for 30 days in 30 minutes.
Sure.
How are you maintaining that specific objection that I can do what you're doing using ChatGPT?
So I have a signature line for this.
Hmm.
You think AI is better than OI?
Okay, and what is OI?
Original intelligence.
Ah, I like that.
So it's literally, this has become my answer. I mean, and they actually, people are like, OI kya hai? OI kya hai? I'm
Like, it made me inquisitive as well.
Exactly. OI is original intelligence.
Hmm.
Your chat GPT or any AI that you're using, it's artificial intelligence. It's going to perform as per the prompts you give it. It's going to perform as per the inputs that you give it. I take pride in giving good briefs to my team, and I know they deliver a certain level of output. I'm not at all against AI, because honestly, it's great to have powerful tools. I think AI is a very powerful tool, but like with any tool, it depends on the user. People can argue that AI to nuksan karega, identity theft. There's a lot of conspiracy theories. I'm not going to get into that, because again, it's very user dependent. When people created nuclear technology, you can use it to defend, you can use it to attack.
Absolutely.
So it's all user dependent. Likewise, the performance of the AI is also user dependent. If you don't have a thought, if you don't have a certain vision, the prompt you give it is not going to give you anything that's out of this world.
Correct.
But if you have a certain thought, a certain strategy, and you feed that prompt to your AI, you're going to get something that's unique and more suited to you. Having said that, it saves time. It definitely gives you a lot more in-depth research. So you can choose how you want to use it. I definitely am not threatened by AI.
Okay.
I definitely, if clients have told me we can get it written by AI, I'm like, please. And then they are like, people don't know that there's something known as AI plagiarism.
Correct.
And if you're going to get a copy from AI and copy paste it, and you get into AI plagiarism, you'll have another legal battle that you have to deal with, because there's copyright issues.
Correct.
So those things are never going to be solved. You will need a person who has expertise. AI, which is something that's picked up in a trend over the last few years, cannot compete with OI, at least with me, which has been there for 21 years professionally.
Correct.
And a lot of other people, and I don't say it's only me, I think a lot of other people who are very sure of the expertise and having learned on the job, वो बोलते हैं ना, हमने धूप में अपने बाल सफेद किए हैं, kind of a thing. So people who created AI also have a lot of intelligence.
Naturally, of course they do.
So you have a tool, use it well, use it to your advantage, use it to give you the output that you want. But the starting point will always be you.
Correct.
So do your research, do your homework, create something of a storyboard or a thought or an idea which has got its innovation, which has got its novelty. Then use AI to help you execute it, research on it, or whatever that you need to do. Yeah, but picking out a blog written by AI and pasting it on a website won't give you the same result.
It's not going to rank you as you can make them rank.
Yeah.
I love how you have put the AI and OI in perspective. Really, really nice. I want to take this conversation a little ahead, more personal, right? You have already written 16 books. 17 is on its way, and I think this is your 16th book.
Yes, it is.
Right, the Beyond the Bio. So what is this? That Instagram bio are you talking about?
In a way, yes, it's a pun actually. We have bio when we say, what's your bio? Like a resume, CV, bio.
Correct.
So the earlier world would think of that when they think of bio. Today's generation tends to think of the Insta bio. In either case, we are talking about going beyond that. A single page bio is just your facts and when you were born and what you do and your qualifications, etc. Your Insta bio is just a few words and a few keywords.
150
characters. But who are you beyond that? Beyond the bio is essentially different aspects of personal branding. The first book in Beyond the Bio is an introduction to personal branding. That's what it is. It allows you to know the fundamentals, what entails personal branding, what are the tools that you can use to amplify your personal brand once you've strategized to build your brand. And as you mentioned, the 17th book, which is in the making, is the second in the series. And there we would want to focus on another aspect, which I'm going to leave out right now until the book is out and we get into putting the promotions for it. But the 15 books which I've written also featured me as a storyteller in the fiction space. So that's for my poetry and for my short stories. And it's kind of fulfilling a small childhood dream of wanting to be a novelist and this thing. So, okay, I'm going to take this opportunity, since you mentioned author, to educate people that there are 3 categories: author, writer, poet. I am all 3.
Nice.
And not everybody is. because a writer is essentially somebody who's done a lot of fiction. Poet is a person who writes poetry. And author is typically someone who's established authority. The word author comes from authority. You could author a book. People say, I've authored a book, and it turns out to be fiction. Essentially, then you're a writer. You are an author when you've put out a domain expertise. You can author a paper, not necessarily a book.
Correct.
You can author a research paper also. So when you put out a book, especially which is connected to your industry domain, tomorrow if you were to put out a book on podcasting and the nuances of podcasting, definitely an author.
Okay.
In that sense. So it could be any topic you choose, but when it is something that establishes authority, you're going to be an author. And this book allowed me to call myself an author now.
Okay.
And from just being a personal branding consultant or a communications consultant, I do now say I'm an author because I have this book.
I think you have 6 bestsellers as well, right?
Yes, those are what we created for our clients because it's also one of the service we do.
Okay.
And that's as an editor, I've had 6 bestsellers to my credit.
Wow.
One also is a book which is the translation of the Bhagavad Gita from Hindi to English, something which I take a lot of pride in. Some of the 3 most glorious years of my life.
Okay.
And so basically, personal branding is something I want to develop as a niche even further.
Is that your vision going forward?
That's my vision.
Now, before I get into your vision, I want to ask you, because when I was researching about you, because I wanted to know who I was going to interview, right? I came many times. There was a thing called I am enough. What's that all about?
Okay, so I think it's a counter to self-doubt, to be honest. We are in an era where the word affirmations is really rampant and very often used.
Yeah, I think it's more abused than used. There's a lot of
say utilized, leaving it neutral, utilized. But yes, I also get the feeling people don't really understand
the power
behind it.
Yes.
You've done a lot of work in the space of manifestation and affirmation, so you understand a little bit of the science, the energies, and everything beyond it. I am also quite spiritually inclined, so I understand the depth of these things. So I would never be able to utilize these words very lightly because there's a lot of power. Also, another element, and coming back to why the Worddpreneur, it ties back to the Worddpreneur concept, because words have a power to impact, words have a power to heal as well. And I strongly believe in using words to heal. I am enough is a statement that fuels me. It takes away any kind of self-doubt. It takes away any kind of feeling that yaar main kya karungi, or I'm feeling stuck, or I'm feeling lost and I don't know how to get the direction or I get an answer or something. I am enough is like a key. It's an affirmation. It's many things rolled into one. It's a phrase that just fuels me. It calms me down. And when you have a calmer head, you find a solution to anything. So from chaos, you have to come to clarity. And I am enough shifts me from chaos to clarity.
Okay, that is your tag. That brings you back to the zane of.
It's my anchor.
From a chaotic life to a peaceful zane.
It can also be called an anchor in my case.
It can be your anchor. Yes, absolutely. I was actually trying to get to that word, but I was like, okay, we'll get there. So I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
And my gratitude to you, by the way, you said that, I'll be authoring a book on podcasting.
Yeah.
Inshallah to that.
That has to.
So I'm glad, Neha, tell me about your vision that you have, right? Because you've got, it seems like because of this 20 years of your, I don't want to call it a hard work, but proud work that you have done. You learn so much, because no matter what you do in life, you will always earn experience.
Sure.
That is if you're willing to.
Absolutely.
Get that.
Yeah.
So you have earned so much experience. You've got so many things going across right now. What is your vision going ahead for next 5 years, let's say?
So when I say beyond the bio, and that is something that I am looking at also being identified and remembered with, it's like a motto. My personal brand will always be built because I have helped people go beyond the bio.
Correct.
I've helped them put out who they are, build an authentic brand for themselves, tell their story from the heart, be true while telling it. It's okay to be a little filtered, because everybody doesn't need to know everything. They don't have to be privy to sides of you that's not relevant in trust building or in the line of work that you're doing. So for me, my personal brand is going to be built by the brands I have helped people build.
Okay.
And that is my vision. That's what I want, that when people use the word personal branding in a room, the immediate word that follows is Neha Ved Worddpreneur. Whether it has been through consulting, whether it's been through consulting and services provided, however it may be, that time will tell, because every mandate is different, every profile is different. Sometimes some business owners choose to have in-house teams, and I may need to work with their team, so it will be my consulting and support, maybe not my services. But the vision is very clear for me. I definitely want to make sure that I have at least another 5 books. The series of Beyond the Bio, which is right now visualized as a 5-book series, should be completed by, we are in 25, right? So by
Correct.
2030 or before that, that series should be
The
out.
whole series of 5
The whole
books, okay.
series should be out.
Wonderful.
I'm also looking at building my digital presence even more.
What success means to you?
Being able to create value. There are a lot of ways to measure success. There's numbers, there's turnover, there's followers. Those are all measurable components. And honestly, when you start putting in effort, you get those results. You put in a strategy, you'll get those results. When you stop putting in the effort to drive those numbers may or may not grow, because your entire goal has been on jacking up the numbers and getting the numbers. Especially in the world of Insta likes and views and all of it. It's an effort. It's a lot of effort, and it's a lot of thought, and it's serious thought that goes behind it. What happens after that? When you go beyond the bio there, it's the value. You may want to go back and rewatch a certain video because there was something important said over there. That view I treasure a lot, because somebody came back to view that. So that's value for me. It's great if you had a 1 million followers, great if you had 10 million or how many ever millions you go to. That's great, that's measurable. And then there might be a time where suddenly people are not coming back. You may post out content and you're like, "Arey, pehle to 5 minutes mein we used to get 10,000, now we are just 1,000. That's not the time to get dejected. That's the time to actually get a value check. That's in a way a reality check that you've created lesser value. People who are doing a lot of great podcasts, okay? You have a classic example of a Ranveer Alabadia, who is phenomenal with the way he did his work.
Of course.
He had a slight slip up. And he came back, but he bounced back.
He came back stronger.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and honestly, that was something I was pretty confident that that's how he would do it. He will bounce back strongly. And this is also a classic example of what I'm saying is success, because it's value. If it was about the numbers, bouncing back would not have been that easy.
That wouldn't be easy.
He followed his instinct. He owned his slip up. He re-strategized. He found his clarity from the chaos. And he's come back with a lot more value.
Perfect.
So it is the same thing. And I cannot not mention Shah Rukh. Okay.
Of course.
you people wrote him off. They called him a zero just because zero flopped. They said we are not his fan because fan flopped. All of it. Hello, 33 years later, he's just got his national award and he's proven he's forever Jawan, and he'll always be the Pathan.
I don't think anyone can ever replace Shah Rukh Khan. Now, bringing in towards the end of the podcast, I want to ask you a few questions here. If you have to give a suggestion in a very brief way to the new aspiring content creators, the content writers, what would that be?
Be authentic in the story you're trying to tell. Don't do it to get a certain number. Do it because the story deserves to be told. So focus on content that's creating value. The numbers will follow. It's very, I think it would be very similar to saying, "Beta kamyabi pe focus karo," or "Nahi, kabiliyat pe focus karo, kamyabi piche aani hai." It's not wrong to want the numbers. It's also important to have those numbers. But if your content is creating value, the numbers are going to come. The audience is going to follow. Most importantly, the audience is going to stay.
Correct. Yeah, the value that you keep talking about.
The value.
Perfect. Neha, I am so grateful to you that you have come here, spoken about digital PR, your Worddpreneur journey, and how beautifully you explained that how can Word and entrepreneur be combined together and work, and how you're not worried about AI. In fact, you tell people, go ahead and use it so that eventually you'll know what I'm providing and you'll come back to me. So that's a very, very nice process that we had today. I hope the journey of your entrepreneurship, your vision of giving the soul-driven value that you want to give, that you are given, and as you have manifested, that you'll be going and invited to be on the stage of Tech Talk. And inshallah, Shah Rukh Khan will be the one opening up for that. But at least let's focus on TED Talk, and don't forget you're going to give us a credit for that as well.
Absolutely.
There. And again, I'm so grateful that you've taken the time out and you're here today to share the story about your journey as an entrepreneur. I hope you had enjoyed the show today.
Absolutely. It has been a very refreshing conversation. And as I always say, keep it authentic. And this has been very authentic.
I'm so glad.
So, yeah.
Guys, there was Neha Ved with us from Worddpreneur. If you want to reach out to her, her details are in description below. All of these things will be uploaded on our YouTube channel, on our Instagram channel, Facebook, definitely on LinkedIn. But apart from that, we're on Apple Music, we're on Google Music, we're also on most of the audio platforms. If you just like to listen to wonderful podcasts like Kabir, Vani, stay in touch, share this with your friends and family, and make sure to go ahead and subscribe to our channel today.